Hello, hello, hello. How are we all on this lovely Friday? It was a bit overcast here, but it looks like the sun might be burning through. So fingers crossed we'll have a slightly better afternoon than we have had morning. I'm just going to hold on for a moment, see who jumps on. I've got my rehydrating electrolyte drink here. Very tasty. And yeah, we're going to talk about not allowing the weekend to be your weekend. So, as I say, I'll just wait a moment. Let me know when you jump on, and let me know if you're watching this on replay. You know the score, I hope by now, that you need to drop in the comments below. #replay if you are watching this on replay. And I would love to hear your thoughts on what I am about to chat through as well. So what we're going to talk about today has actually come about because of some conversations that have been going on in the Fit of V members club. A couple of ladies in particular have highlighted the issue that they are finding that they are eating really well during the week, and then it gets to the weekend and they let it all go, and they're basically undoing all of the hard work that they've put in during the week. Hi there, whoever's jumped on, do let me know that you're there. Let me know you can see and hear me okay. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a hello in the comments. I'd love to know who's there. I've got absolutely no idea who it is. It's not, Facebook isn't telling me who you are. So I'd love you to just let me know in the comments below. So yes, we're going to talk about this idea that many of us, me included, relax our eating at weekends, and we need to be mindful that we don't go so far off track at the weekends that everything that we've done during the week we are more than overcompensating for, I guess. So I'm going to give you some tips as to how you can get around that. I'll tell you now, I'm not going to tell you to restrict your eating at the weekends necessarily, but I will give you a few tips and tricks that will help you to balance everything out across the whole week. But before we get to that, let's just talk about this idea that we can just let things go at the weekend. So I, for one, I was very much like this. I still am to some extent. I'm nobody's perfect, are they? And I'm certainly not perfect, and certainly not at the moment while we're in lockdown. But there are 7 days in any given week. There are always 7 days in the week. And let's, for argument's sake, say your weekend starts at, I don't know, 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. And then it runs through until Sunday evening. So let's say that's 2.5 days, give or take, yeah? That is about, I did the maths before I jumped on, it's about 35% of your week. 2.5 days is around about 35% of your 7-day week. So if you allow yourself to go completely free rein from Friday 5 p.m. until Sunday evening, you are spending 35% of your time free riding, doing whatever you want to do, eating what you want, drinking what you want, and not really focusing mindfully on the choices that you are making. You're just, eating almost for the sake of eating, and you're telling yourself, consciously or subconsciously, it's the weekend, so I can do what I like at the weekend. Well, that's absolutely fine, unless, of course, your goal is fat loss. And I know there are many, many people in this group, because I ask you your join questions when you join up. So I know that there are many of you in this group where your biggest health and fitness goal at the moment is weight loss. And as you know, I talk about fat loss rather than weight loss, but we're on the same page here. You guys want to trim down, drop a dress size, feel better in your clothes, whatever it might be. So if you are spending 35% of your time eating whatever you like, you're going to find that really hard. You're going to find the whole fat loss journey really tricky. So we need to come up with some strategies to ensure that you are still working towards your goals, but equally you are still enjoying what you are eating, you are still enjoying social occasions, and you are still to some extent relaxing a little bit more over the weekend. So the first strategy I have is that you track your calories if you are tracking calories, and I would definitely suggest you do if you are somebody who wants to lose fat. It doesn't happen by magic, unfortunately. It doesn't happen by exercising every day. Fat loss happens by ensuring you are in a calorie deficit. I've spoken about this before, and I'll share the link in the blurb at the end of this for another video that I did on calorie deficits for those of you that have missed it. So you need to be in a calorie deficit, and the easiest way to get in a calorie deficit is by tweaking what you put in your mouth. So that's food and drink that we're talking about there. Exercise alone is not going to get you to the goal that you are aiming for. Exercise is fantastic for all sorts of other benefits: mental health, physical health, energy levels, good skin, and it will help to put you in a calorie deficit, but it's a really, really small portion of it. And again, I will link a video above where I talk about why nutrition is so much more important for fat loss than exercise. Hi, Maria. So I'm not going to go into that in detail now, but the first thing I would say is if you are tracking your calories, and I would highly recommend you do if you are aiming for fat loss, is you think about your calories over a full 7-day period. So let's, for argument's sake, say that your calorie allowance for the day is 1,500 calories. Now, I'm massively just pulling that figure out of the air, although I know from experience that that is a great target to aim for most ladies. Not everybody, but for many ladies. So let's say it's 1,500 calories. Shouldn't really be any lower than that, if I'm honest. You multiply your 1,500 calories by 7, and that gets you to, is it 12,500? I haven't got a calculator on me, but whatever that gets you to, that is your calorie allowance for the whole 7 days. If you then know, for example, that you are going to have a takeaway on a Friday night, or you are going out for a meal with friends, not at the moment, obviously, but you know, you can imagine the scenario, or you know it's someone's birthday, so there's going to be cake and drinks going on and nibbles and what have you. You can take that into account. You can enjoy those moments. You can enjoy your takeaway guilt-free. You can enjoy your meal out guilt-free. You can enjoy the birthday party guilt-free, because you can then basically reduce your calories across the rest of the week to compensate for that one occasion. So let's say, for argument's sake, that takeaway is 1,200 calories. And that is no exaggeration, ladies. A takeaway, an Indian or a Chinese takeaway, can get anywhere up to 1,000 to 1,200 calories. Likewise, a pizza can be at that level as well. So you deduct that from your total for the week, and that then tells you how many calories you've got left for the whole week. Let's say, in addition to your pizza or your Indian takeaway, you are also going to enjoy a bottle of wine. That's about 600 calories. So you need to deduct that as well. I'm not sure what that takes us down to, but let's say, for argument's sake, it's taking us down to 11,000 calories. You now have 11,000 calories to play with over the remaining 6 and a bit days of your week. Okay, and that is how you can enjoy your treats, enjoy meals out, enjoy special occasions, hi Nyan, and still hit your fat loss goal, because you're controlling it over an entire week, not just on a given day. So what happens with many people, and I've seen this with lots of the clients I've worked with, they're really good at sticking rigidly to their calorie allowance Monday to Thursday, and then it gets to the weekend. Now, if they've stuck with 1,500 calories Monday to Thursday, and then they overindulge at the weekend, they are no longer in a calorie deficit. They're no longer hitting the calorie targets that I have given them. They're going over and above those calorie targets. And that can happen in one meal. So we need to be really mindful of that. Now, as I said earlier, I am not in any way, shape or form saying that we should not enjoy those meals. We need to have those in our lives. They are part of our social experience. They are good for our soul. They are good for our mental health, and they are good for relaxation as well. So I'm definitely encouraging you to ensure that you enjoy treats. I know so many people who put themselves on these really strong deprivation diets, and then they end up binging because they've cut out the chocolate, the alcohol, the caffeine, the cake, the crisps. They've cut it all out. And then, of course, when they do get their hands on some, it's like they've never been fed before. But by spreading the calories out, by enjoying your weekend social occasions, you can still hit your fat loss goals. So that's my first tip. Spread it out over the 7 days or spreading it out over the whole week rather than worrying about it on a day-to-day basis. My second tip is to take diet breaks every so often. And what I mean by that is actually taking a whole week off or even 2 weeks off from doing any tracking and just eat what feels right for you in that period of time. Again, that's good for your mental health, it's good for your soul, it's good for your just general life, and it will boost your metabolism as well. So when we take ourselves into a calorie deficit, we actually limit our metabolic rate. We reduce our metabolic rate. Our body is fantastic at adapting to new scenarios and new situations. So if you bring your calories down, your body will adapt to that accordingly and the metabolic rate will slow. So every so often we need to spike it back up again, and we do that by taking a diet break. We don't want to do a diet break every weekend though, because that means that we are still overdoing our calories every single week. But maybe you say once a month or once every 6 weeks, I'm going to have a weekend when I just enjoy myself and I don't track anything and I just go for it and have some fun. It won't have a detrimental effect on your fat loss. If anything, it will actually help, but also it will get you out of that binge mentality too. Be mindful of your alcohol consumption. We all are guilty. Well, we're not all. I know I am guilty of not really monitoring my alcohol consumption properly, particularly at weekends. And before you know it, as I mentioned earlier, 600 calories in a bottle of wine, there or thereabouts. So before you know it, you could have drunk, let's say you have a bottle of wine on a Friday, a Saturday and a Sunday. That's 1,800 calories that you have consumed in liquid form, no nutritional value whatsoever, and it will actually impact on your fat loss in other ways as well, because when we drink wine or indeed any form of alcohol, we often end up snacking more. And it's mindless eating because our brain isn't processing things as well as it would do normally. Our sleep gets affected, and sleep has a massive impact on fat loss as well. And the following day we feel a bit groggy, and guess what? We eat more and we rest more and we don't move our bodies as much, so we don't burn as many calories through movement. So there's loads and loads of evidence to say high alcohol consumption has a massive impact on fat loss. So I guess what I'm boiling this down to is be mindful of what you are doing. If you are wanting to lose fat, don't let the 3 days or the 2.5 days, 35% of your week, don't let that ruin your progress. Don't get into the mentality of I'll eat really, really well Monday to Thursday and then I'll just let it all go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Because I know from experience, my own experience and my clients' experience, that doesn't work. You need to be making conscious choices. And if that conscious choice is to eat a piece of cake, then have a piece of cake and eat it with pleasure. Do not beat yourself up about it. Do not get on the treadmill and burn off the cake. That is guilty exercise. It's not the mentality you should be in. Enjoy the cake, enjoy the pizza, enjoy the wine, but just be aware of how many calories are in those things so that you can then adjust accordingly, either pre or post consumption. So in the days running up to that treat or in the days afterwards, or both. And this is one of the things I teach on my Eat Well Lose Fat course. It's also one of the things we're talking about in the members club. It's a massive passion of mine that we do not deprive ourselves 24/7 of the things we enjoy. We should be allowing ourselves to have nice treats, whatever that might be. Treats for everybody varies, doesn't it? But we should be allowing that in our lives. Don't deprive yourself so much that you feel guilty anytime you reach for a piece of cake or a bar of chocolate or a glass of wine. Enjoy them, but just be aware of of the calories in them and adjust accordingly. You can hit your fat loss goals and still enjoy all of those things. So don't let your weekend be your weekend. I'll remind you again, it's 35% of your week. And if you're starting your weekend Friday morning, then it becomes 45% of your week. So it's a huge chunk of time that you are spending self-sabotaging if you are not making the right choices. I hope that's been helpful. Do let me know in the comments below what of those points resonated with you the most, or which of those tips is the biggest takeaway for you. Takeaway as in you taking the message away, not takeaway as in a Chinese. I'd love to know your thoughts, and if you have seen the poll, then there is a poll in the group at the moment asking you to vote on what you would like me to talk about on future lives. So do check that out, vote accordingly, add your own options in if you wish. I will be starting to schedule my next few lives over the next day or so. So get stuck into that poll. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about. And if you have enjoyed this, or indeed you haven't, let me know. Drop your comments below. And if you've got any questions on anything, drop them below as well, and I will be in touch with you. I'm going to post those other links for you. Have a great Friday, and I'll see you on Wednesday next week for our next live workout if I don't see you before. Have a great weekend.